Welcome back to this week's Encouraging Words for School Counselors podcast. I'm Matt Fleck with Inspire Success. As some of you know, we started these short podcasts last fall as a way to support school counselors and student services personnel in this extra stressful period of COVID when everyone, from students even to ourselves, continue to be challenged by the effects of the pandemic. I often forget that many new school counselors started their first jobs as counselors during this crazy time. Cal Beneze in Scottsdale, Arizona, is one of them. He was a counselor intern last year when COVID struck in March, and he could tell a distinct difference in his ability to connect with students.
You look at like New Year's Day as a fresh start, and I think in a lot of ways, a lot of kids and even parents look at, September 1st or the beginning of the school year as a fresh start too. So to be doing things one way all the way more than halfway through the year with only really, 2+ months left in the school year, I think to make that mental transition was tough for a lot of students. I was definitely able to connect with some, but definitely not as many students as I have my first year at my school as a counselor.
For Cal, being face-to-face with students instead of virtual greatly improved his ability to connect with his students. It also reassured him that choosing to be a school counselor was the right choice for him.
I have right now freshmen, sophomores, and juniors with the last names of K through Q, and I'm going to travel with them next year. So I'll have sophomores, juniors, seniors. We typically have a freshman counselor, and we do, but just with me being new, they didn't want to give me any seniors that I didn't know for letters of rec and things like that, which I think is responsible and smart. But anyway, so I have freshmen. So one of these freshmen makes a meeting with me, and this freshman's not my alpha. She is the freshman counselor's student. And I caught that right away. And the day before the meeting, and I let the freshman counselor know. And so I was like, I'll just bring her to you when she comes. And so just coincidentally, the counselor was in like the bathroom or something at the time. And so she met with me anyway. I was like, hey, yeah, no, we can meet while, Miss Lopez is in the bathroom, but actually, I don't know if you know, but she is actually your counselor. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. So we were chatting for 5 minutes. I was like, well, in the meantime, tell me what's going on. And so she was telling me, and I think I connected with her because we both we're diagnosed with ADHD, and she was dealing with some complications from that. And so I was like, your friend, Mr. B here, also dealt with that. And I know that it can be struggled. And so we were just connecting. And then literally 5 minutes, the freshman counselor comes in. We kind of have like a group meeting since I was already in there, but they finished off together. And then lo and behold, I get an email that night from the parents and from the students saying, hey, I just feel like this is the right thing for me. I really want to be with you. I feel like you're someone that I really connect with. And I think that's something for a counselor that was virtual, didn't have a lot of those wins, didn't have a lot of those moments, those affirmations like, hey, you're making a difference. So like student that within 5 minutes of meeting me asked to switch counselors because they felt there was a connection. Those are those moments where you say, okay, like I'm helping, I'm connecting, I'm making a difference with my students. And so I feel like for me, the confidence was always there that I could do that, but there was but there were very few moments last year where there was that affirmation, just because like, no matter how much talking face to face you can do through a screen, it's just not the same as in person. It's just not. And so I just feel like that was an experience for me where it was definitely affirming for me, like I'm making a difference, but also like I got into the right field.
Cal says he has confidence at his core that he can be an effective school counselor, but there were times in the last year when he thought, like many of us, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. So he followed the protocols he learned in his master's degree program for situations such as a student with suicidal ideation. And for all the rest that's not covered in college, he simply had to have confidence that he could do it.
My senior year in high school psychology teacher, I remember this quote. He said, your ability to BS in life is going to be crucial. And not that I think anything that I do is BS, but I do believe that confidence is something you do. I believe you do have to fake it till you make it a little bit. And your students are looking for someone that knows what they're talking about, or at least acts like they know what they're talking about. They're not going to know when you mess up as long as you deliver things confidently. So I think that's something that I tried to communicate with some of my peers, it was like, look, I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to act like I do because these students are looking for that. And I think, frankly, some of them couldn't wrap their heads around that. But everyone's different. That's what makes the human experience so beautiful, you know?
If you're a new school counselor or social worker, hang in there. And if you're a veteran, make sure the new and newer counselors know that you're there to support them. That's all for this week's podcast, except for my weekly plea to take a moment and share a story of your work as a counselor with us, perhaps something that worked well with one of your students or something that happened unique during this time of COVID, or a potentially negative interaction that turned out okay. It's really you and your stories that make the podcast work, not us. And you can easily record your thoughts at our website and our online sound booth at inspiresuccess.org/soundbooth, where you can also find past episodes of the Encouraging Words for School Counselors podcast. Thanks for sharing your stories with us, and thanks for listening.